Hi, my name is Stephanie Morace from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm the owner of Balloonatics of Baton Rouge. The origin story is a good one. My church invited me to do some children's activities at an outreach event in our community, and they got me a balloon pump, little hand pump, and they got me a bag of balloons. And in that came that little booklet that had like 4 figures you can learn from the balloon kit, and I learned those, and I was actually okay with it, not really enthused about it, but I was like, oh, that's a new thing. And then one day I was down in New Orleans, and I was at a coffee shop, and I saw a street performer, and he had all these kids standing around, and he was making these really cool figures where he was breaking the balloons, and he was using different colors of balloons together and things I hadn't seen yet. So whenever I saw him, he made a rattlesnake for a group of kids, and he wrapped the balloon around his finger, and he blew into the balloon, and all of a sudden this spiral appeared, and I didn't know what he had done, but I knew that I wanted to do that, like that, grab people's attention like that. So I actually started looking on the internet and trying to find videos and trying to understand what he was doing. And I sat in the parking lot in my car and huffed and puffed on a 260 until it turned into this spiral. And I made probably the worst rattlesnake you've ever seen, but I was in love with it from then on. And so it just became a thing. Every day on my lunch break, I would work on one new animal, one new creation, and I would just scour the internet for images and videos that would help me understand more and more about balloons. So whenever I first started twisting, I was a full-time engineer at an environmental company in Baton Rouge, and it really was just more of a fun thing to learn. I liked puzzles, I liked solving little puzzles and things like that. So this to me was more just a fun thing to do on the lunch break. And then people started asking me to do parties, and I said, sure, I'll come to your kid's party. And they said, how much? And I said, what do you mean, you're gonna give me money? And they said, yeah, people get paid to do this. Then I met some entertainers in our area, and they were amazing, and they really welcomed me in like family. We became really close friends, and they explained to me that, you know, if you do this right, you can actually make a living twisting balloons. And sure enough, within the next 2 years, I started doing this full time and haven't looked back since. My favorite Qualitex color, I know I could cheat and say all the chromes because they're amazing, but if I had to pick one, I would say silver chrome, because I used to, when I would make a trumpet, I would put a black 160 inside of a silver 260 every time I would make a trumpet to make it look amazing. And now I just blew up this one chrome silver balloon, and it makes things so much faster, and it still looks as amazing as it used to whenever I would double stuff the balloons. My favorite Qualitex balloon may sound a little lame, I guess, because it's just the basic 260. I think it's just the first thing that I was exposed to, and there's just so much you can do with it. And all the other sizes and shapes, they were great because they could add to, but that original creation, that rattlesnake that I made with that 260 balloon, was just what sparked everything. So I guess the 260 is always going to be my favorite. The best advice I received when I first started was definitely on the business side of things, was what the art was worth in our area, and not to undervalue what I was doing. I know in the beginning, whenever I would say how much it cost for a birthday party, for example, I would almost cringe at telling people how much it cost. And whenever they explained to me, you know, this is how it is and this is how we get our pricing, and to be very confident when you're giving your pricing, and whenever you're confident about what you're worth, then the people that are hiring you are confident that you're worth that amount as well. So for someone that's just starting out, that's what I would say is make sure you figure out what your market is, and make sure that your work, make sure your talent is to the level it should be whenever you're going out and booking parties. But once you know that you are ready for birthday parties and you're ready to be out and entertain in front of a crowd, know what you're worth, and stick to your numbers and be confident, and don't end your sentences with kind of that question mark of, I think it's $250. Be very confident, and that way they know when they get a product that you're confident, and that way they'll be more confident that they've chosen the right entertainer. My favorite thing about being a balloon twister is that you are always making people smile, and you get to be the person that everybody comes to, and they feel happier when they leave, because you've made their day better. Whether it's the child, or whether it's parents sitting around at a restaurant, everybody enjoys what we do. And so being able to put a smile on people's faces, even unintentionally, people that you weren't trying to entertain, you just can't help but make them smile, because what we do is just so much fun to watch. So when I first started twisting, I was just using whatever I could find at the party store. And once I was introduced by another twister to Qualitex balloons, I just immediately noticed the difference in quality. Immediately my sculptures were so much better, because the color, the quality was just obvious from the get-go.